And believe me, it is a crazy world. It's as if almost everything that we've come to know from generations of lived human experience has been tipped on its head. Our priorities now seem so out of whack that nothing seems to make sense anymore. Now, I can dig back to my university days. They were spectacularly unsuccessful, I have to say, and the few classes I actually turned up to, I remember there was a basic table of human needs. First off was physiological needs, where you air, food and water. Then came safety, the desire for security and employment and health, and ultimately love and belonging, family and friendship and intimacy. Then became esteem, respect, status and recognition, and at the peak was self-actualization, the desire to be the most you can be. Now, you had to satisfy the more basic needs to establish the foundation on which to enjoy your other desires. It was all pretty basic stuff. But now, just think about what generations of people are prioritising today. They don't seem to care about basic needs. They simply crave fame, adoration, recognition, and usually someone else's money. They want to be insta-famous and live in a fantasy world that they create themselves via digital filters and contrived photos. They seem to blame everyone else because they haven't got a house, or they haven't got health insurance, or they haven't got a proper job. And then they get all depressed when their like count doesn't go up, or some troll tells them an unfortunate truth that maybe, just maybe, they're a bit of a loser. Now, little wonder mental illness, substance abuse, and the associated political doctrine of socialism are becoming so prevalent. Unfortunately, society is catering to this self-absorption. We have effectively absolved those adults who have childlike minds from taking responsibility for themselves. And that's why governments spend borrowed money with little or no regard to actually having to pay it back. It's why around half of the people in this country get more in benefits than they pay in tax. It's why we give handouts to people for buying a house, for paying their rent, for sitting around doing nothing. We pay them to have babies. We pay someone else to look after their babies. We pay them to keep their electricity on and on and on and on I could go. There is an endless stream of handouts which are often just a cop-out from individuals practising personal responsibility. Well, let me tell you, it's sending us broke, and it's producing a generation of woke wusses. So I ask, isn't it time the avo-smashed breakfast munching crew learned that the true cost of their craft beer and breakfast habit is that they'll be stuck living with mum and dad until they get booted out? And then, of course, they'll be looking for one of those generous handouts at someone else's expense, of course, because it's society's fault that they've failed to achieve what they wanted to. But imagine what would happen if we were suddenly forced to turn some of this welfare tap off. Well, I suspect you'd see an amalgam of grifters and dependents marching in the streets demanding justice for shovel-bearded hipsters or some other contrived nonsense. They'd of course be supported by magic-pudding economists in the media and in politics who think that debt doesn't matter and that printing money somehow makes everyone richer. Well, I say the people who should be protesting in the streets are the taxpayers of Australia, who need to demand a better deal for their money. The waste has simply got out of control. And eventually, something will snap. And I suspect it's going to be the willingness of those few hardy souls who actually pay tax in this country to continue to support this unsustainable madness.